Who are you? What's the game? There's no point keeping up the act with me. The question is, who are you?
When we think about the giants of the DC universe, one name usually stands above the rest: Superman. This iconic hero embodies truth, justice, and the American way, growing into a symbol of hope. But what about those who share elements of his story? Today, we're going to explore characters that echo Superman's spirit, whether through their powers or their ideals, and who have more than just a brief cameo. While countless variations of Superman exist within the multiverse of comics, we're honing in on those memorable adaptations that appeared in TV shows and films. So, to find out about their different on-screen storylines, I'll be your guide as we delve into the evolution of Superman's variants through the decades. Bizarro, one of Superman's earliest and most fascinating variants, stands as a unique blend of clone, supervillain, antihero, and a distorted reflection of the Man of Steel.
Long story short, somebody tried to clone Superman, but ended up with opposite Superman.
With his pale white skin, a mirrored chest emblem, and an unsaturated suit, Bizarro's appearance immediately signals his status as a warped counterpart. Known for his iconic backward speech and sluggish intellect,
Rampage! Help Bizarro.
Bizarro's personality often adds an element of confusion and unpredictability to his actions.
We need a hero who can think on his feet, understand?
Nope.
While he retains many of Superman's powers, such as flight, super strength, and invulnerability, his abilities feature bizarre twists. He possesses ice vision instead of heat vision, fire breath instead of freezing breath, and even shows an occasional resistance to kryptonite.
The kryptonite didn't knock him out.
Our cell structures must be too different.
Over the years, Bizarro has appeared in multiple projects as both a villain and an unlikely ally. He's often seen alongside other supervillains, like the Legion of Doom, in their battles against the Justice League.
Bizarro hate Luthor. Me do anything for him.
Good. Bad.
When operating solo, he typically fixates on Superman or is an anti-hero willing to help. In Super Friends, Bizarro was typically used for comic relief. In the DC animated universe, he was a failed experiment by Lex Luthor, designed to create a Superman army, and became a pain for Superman. In Smallville, he was a phantom wraith who possessed Clark's body, while in Superman and Lois, he emerged from an alternate dimension and embodied a darker persona. As we travel across another dimension, we arrive in an alternate reality shaped by the heavy influence of power, guilt, and a haunting what-if scenario.
You get one warning.
One captivating episode in Superman the Animated Series explores this concept. The story begins with Professor Hamilton unveiling a device capable of looking into other dimensions. When Lois gets too close, she's transported to a parallel universe and quickly realizes this isn't home. Metropolis has transformed into a police state, with a statue honoring Superman and Lex Luthor, the man who saved Metropolis. After witnessing a rebel heist, Superman appears, donned in a black suit with the redesigned symbol. His demeanor is fierce and impatient, far from the Superman she knows. Superman reappears when Lois tries to escape security, but is surprised to see her.
Lois?
You.
He quickly takes her for medical care, revealing that in this dimension, her doppelganger died when investigating Intergang. Overcome with guilt for being too late to save her,
You never knew how I felt about you.
he realized his heroic efforts alone were insufficient.
For too long, I fooled myself into thinking I was doing a simple cleanup job, that if I did enough good, people would follow.
Reluctantly, he partnered with Lex to prevent further tragedies, believing control was the only path to safety.
Now look at you, married to Luthor.
I needed someone with the organization, the technology.
But learning that Lex tried to kill Lois and imprison innocent people, he breaks their partnership.
All I've ever done is give you what you wanted.
Not anymore, Luthor. Show's over.
Stops his escape, and helps restore order to Metropolis. Facing doubt that he can regain the people's trust, Lois gives him hope before returning home, and seeing his counterpart reminds him of who he can be again. Among Superman's many variants stands one who lacks superpowers but is a mixture of Iron Man and Thor, John Henry Irons, better known as Steel. A genius engineer, John steps into the void left by Superman's death by crafting a suit of armor. It transforms him into literally the Man of Steel, the first member of the Superman to take up the mantle.
Superman saved my life once. Now that he's gone, I owe it to him to fill the void.
Covered in metallic armor, sometimes with the iconic S logo, Steel mirrors Superman's abilities with his technological advancement. His suit grants him flight through rocket boosters, bulletproof protection, a wrist-mounted blaster, and his signature weapon, a massive sledgehammer. In the DCAU, he abandons his role at LexCorp after his warnings about a suit are ignored.
I warned Luthor this might happen. Mills isn't wearing the suit, he's become the suit.
He builds his own suit and field tests it when Metallo injures Superman, ultimately saving him and later joining the Justice League on their adventures.
You're going to be getting this a lot, so you might as well hear it from me first.
What?
Thanks.
In Superman and Lois, John comes from an alternate dimension where Kryptonians, led by Superman, are tyrants. Driven by grief and revenge after losing his wife Lois to Superman, John builds a suit to fight back. However, he's transported to another Earth where he befriends Superman and becomes one of his most loyal allies. Meanwhile, in My Adventures with Superman, John, an Amertech engineer, creates a suit designed for first responders.
They can withstand fire, sub-zero temperatures, you name it. But Weston wanted something flashier.
When his boss rushes the project and misuses its unstable core to power a fusion generator, John dons the suit to help Superman prevent a catastrophic disaster. In the future Gotham City, Neo Gotham, Superman Beyond takes the center stage as the leader of the Justice League. Unbeknownst to Batman, while chasing Ink, Superman lurks in the shadows, disguised as a mere bystander. But when Ink takes him hostage,
I'll take it from here, Batman.
He handles the situation, revealing himself to Batman. He accompanies him to the Batcave, where he reconnects with Bruce.
I could use some of that Kryptonian DNA.
You'll outlive us all, Bruce. You're too stubborn to die.
And wants Terry to join the Justice League. However, the League stands against his inclusion, as Superman never discussed it. Superman's true motives come to light. He needs Terry's help to expose a mole within the League, responsible for injuring Micron.
That was some accident.
Wrong. Someone deliberately caused that wreck, and I think it was an inside job.
As further sabotage endangers Aquagirl's life, it becomes evident that someone is deliberately targeting the team.
Sabotage. This confirms it. There's a traitor among us.
When a citywide crisis erupts, Superman and the League respond, but Warhawk is seemingly killed. However, Terry uncovers shocking evidence that implicates Superman as the traitor. Although the League initially dismisses claims, Warhawk appears and confirms his accusation. They confront Superman and discover that he was controlled by Starro, an alien he encountered in his early adventures.
It took over Superman's mind. It's been on him for years.
Years?
The situation worsens when the League is placed under Starro's command, but Terry manages to escape. Unable to outrun Superman, he delivers an electrical surge that frees him from Starro's control. With Superman back, he and Terry work together to free the League, stop an invasion, and safely return them home.
Barda, these creatures never asked to come here. We have no right to kill them.
Back to his old self again.
The DCAU gave us a storyline introducing the Justice Lords, with Lord Superman at its core. In a parallel dimension, almost identical to the DCAU, except for one big event that changes everything. When President Lex Luthor kills the Flash, the Justice Lords storm the White House.
Superman! Did you hear me? Wait!
We've waited too long as it is.
Superman confronts Lex, who taunts him, calling his heroics pointless since he always finds a way to escape justice. In a single moment, Superman gives in to his dark impulses.
I did love being a hero, but if this is where it leads, I'm done with it.
And incinerates him. 2 years later, the Justice Lords have become the ultimate rulers of Earth. New suits, new methods, and zero tolerance for crime.
The world's in permanent lockdown, free speech is all but dead, and you don't know what's wrong?
Lord Superman even takes it up a notch by lobotomizing Arkham supervillains, and every political decision now requires a seal of approval. After Batman reveals he created a trans-dimensional portal, the Lords discover the Justice League, a version of themselves unwilling to cross the line.
It's just like ours.
Almost, but their Flash is still alive. So's their Luthor.
The Lords ambush the League, trapping them in their own dimension and stepping into the League's universe to take over. Right off the bat, Lord Superman shows he means business by lobotomizing Doomsday.
And what's with the new costumes, guys?
We just felt it was time for a change.
But when the League escapes, in a desperate move to not compromise their morals, they team up with Lord Superman's greatest enemy to turn the tide.
Everything he does from now on is your fault! It's a high price, but it's better than the alternative.
While the Lords return to their dimension, it doesn't end there. The fallout from Lord Superman's actions sparks paranoia. A secret government division starts developing weapons to take down the Justice League, just in case they ever went rogue. Did you know that there are actually two versions of Cyborg Superman? One is Superman reimagined as a cyborg, and the other is Hank Henshaw. Let's start with the Superman turned cyborg variant. In Legion of Superheroes, the team visits the Fortress of Solitude and encounters an android Superman. While it's merely a robot with basic intelligence, his design bears a striking resemblance to Cyborg Superman. Then, in a Lego film, Batman travels to the future, finding Superman integrated with Brainiac's technology. Now, it's Hank who steals the spotlight. His story begins with a space mission where debris impacts his ship. He stays calm, believing Superman will save them.
We're not going to make it.
Like hell we're not. Superman will save us. Just like always.
But more impacts cause the death of his wife and crew. Though Hank survives, his mind is fueled with hatred for Superman, whom he blames for not saving his wife. Darkseid saves him to be his servant, transferring his mind into a cybernetic body modeled after Superman.
I plucked your lifeless corpse from the void and handed you a chance for glory.
Hank joins the Superman as a second member to replace Superman, but masquerades as the genuine article.
Now who the hell are you?
I'm Superman.
His ultimate goal? To form a cybernetic army loyal to him, paving the way for Darkseid's invasion.
I can give each of you the power to be your own hero. The same technology that saved me can save us all.
But when the real Superman returns, Hank betrays Darkseid, wanting him for himself.
I shall enjoy killing the Man of Steel.
No! Superman is mine to destroy!
However, his obsession becomes his downfall, as Superman ultimately gets the upper hand. That was the last time he appeared on screen, but his story is far from over. He's set to return in My Adventures with Superman, where Hank already despises the Man of Steel. Meet Superman X, a clone unlike any other. He makes his debut when he arrives from the 41st century, desperate for the Legion's help to save his doomed timeline. At first glance, he has longer hair, green eyes, and a futuristic combat suit. But he's no team player.
The Legion is a team, and you're a loose cannon. That's not how heroes from our time work.
He's headstrong, brimming with rage, and focused on one mission, defeating the Conqueror Imperiex. Created by K3NT, Superman X is a clone made from Superman's DNA, engineered to be the ultimate weapon.
How's this for a plan? We fight. Fight until Imperiex's rusted husk has been ripped apart for scrap metal.
He's everything you'd expect, but he's immune to kryptonite, can fire green crystals, use energy blades, and construct a shield. While they defeat Imperiex, he escapes to the 31st century, dooming his future. Barely surviving the journey back, he's frustrated by their focus on rescuing captured teammates instead of hunting Imperiex. Brainiac 5 then summons the original Superman, who knows that his clone reminds him of Batman.
You remind me more of a friend of mine. Strong-willed, bit of a loner, and when the time came for him to be part of a team, he resisted.
Although X parts ways, he eventually joins the Legion after realizing he can't stop Imperiex alone.
You came back! Fighting Imperiex with numerically superior manpower made a certain amount of sense!
Rebranding himself as Kal-El to avoid confusion.
Similar but different. Fine, whatever. You can call me Carl if that means we can go after Imperiex now.
he learns to value teamwork and even starts prioritizing the Legion over his personal vendetta. However, when a corrupted Brainy destroys Imperiex, Kel is left with the void now that his one reason for existing is gone.
And now that that's been taken from me by someone else, I just feel so useless.
As Brainy begins his conquest, Kel and Superman are projected into his mind and merge upon uncovering the original Brainiac. When they convince Brainy to fight back, he defeats him, and Kel becomes an official Legionnaire before returning to his timeline. And now we come to the final clone, Superboy. Engineered by Cadmus with half of Superman's DNA and half of Lex Luthor's.
All of Superman's strength plus all the Luthor intellect.
This clone embodies the constant struggle between heroism and ambition.
You were created by the bad guys, so there must be something wrong with you. But we both know life isn't that clear-cut.
Unlike Bizarro, who was a failed attempt at replicating Superman, this clone was designed to be his successor.
Is that what I think it is?
He doesn't like being called an it.
I'm Superman's clone.
He first debuted as the third member of the Supermen, replacing Superman. But when Superman returns, he finds his own path by joining the Teen Titans. Across media, his powers and personality vary, but one detail remains consistent: his signature black t-shirt with the red Superman crest. In Smallville, he's consumed by Lex's memories and named after his medical files.
I am a Luthor, and this is where I belong.
No, it's not.
Despite being welcomed by Clark and embracing his good personality, he still struggles with his identity. That is, until he chooses to be a hero and takes on Clark's surname. In Young Justice, he was created by a supervillain organization called the Light to replace Superman.
Created to replace him should he perish. To destroy him should he turn from the light.
However, he's liberated and joins a team of young superheroes who carry out covert missions for the Justice League. He also discovers that his human lineage explains why his powers don't measure up to Superman's.
When you were created, the gaps in the sequences were bridged with human DNA, robbing you of your full Kryptonian powers.
In the Titan series, he escapes Cadmus and bonds with Krypto. While on the run, he saves Jason Todd, and despite later being manipulated by Cadmus, he finds his place among the Titans. The latest iteration of this character is set to debut in My Adventures with Superman, as images tease his appearance in Season 3. Ultraman stands out as a purely evil Superman variant, embodying tyranny with no redeeming qualities. He grew into control, using his abilities to dominate rather than to protect.
I'm here because I'm the baddest of the bad. Anybody who ever stood in my way is dead.
As the leader of the crime syndicate, an evil version of the Justice League, Ultraman rules Earth 3, thriving on fear and control. Besides sharing Superman's abilities, he has several contrasts, including that his crest bears a U instead of an S, his weakness is blue kryptonite as opposed to the typical green, and he doesn't need a secret identity. In Crisis on Two Earths, Ultraman dons a suit with more yellow than red. Under his command, the crime syndicate has divided Earth into territories they control, blackmailing governments.
We spent $37 billion on government bribes last year. No more of that. We'll be the government.
And threatening global destruction with a quantum trigger bomb.
Which leaves the governments of the world with two choices. Bow down to us, or die.
When Lex, a hero on this Earth, recruits the Justice League for help, he battles Ultraman, ultimately defeating him with kryptonite. Despite his arrest, Ultraman regains his freedom through the President, whom he manipulates after killing his wife.
You get your little girl under control, or I'll do it for you. Remember what happened to the First Lady?
This sets the stage for a final showdown, where we see a climactic battle between Ultraman and Superman. Now in Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Flash travels to Earth 3 and encounters the Syndicate, who, bored with their own world, become intrigued by the idea of conquering the multiverse.
Billions of people to enslave, a reason to fight, to live.
However, their ambitions are cut short when an antimatter wave appears. In a moment that highlights Ultraman's arrogance,
I'm gonna punch that antimatter wall so hard, it's gonna shatter into a million pieces.
He decides to punch the wave and is obliterated instantly. When the Flash goes back in time to save his mom, he inadvertently creates a new timeline called Flashpoint. Barry awakens in this new world, powerless, and discovers that Thomas Wayne is Batman, and the Amazons and Atlanteans are locked in a brutal war that threatens to annihilate the planet. But one of the most shocking changes, Superman. Kal-El's spaceship didn't land in Smallville. Instead, it crash-landed in the heart of Metropolis, where the government locked him away. As Flash regains his speed and is determined to find Superman,
even if we knew the trigger point, there's no one to go back in time and fix it.
Superman could.
He and Batman team up with Cyborg, who leads them to a Red Sun prison. They're shocked to find a depowered Superman, skinnier than we've ever seen him.
Is that Clark? This is the most powerful being on the planet? Help me.
At first, he's terrified of human interaction, but Cyborg manages to ease his fears by introducing himself as a friend. When they help him escape his prison, Superman absorbs the sunlight and his powers start to return.
So beautiful.
However, American operatives arrive, guns blazing. Superman stops a rocket, soars, and unleashes his heat vision, but he struggles to control his powers, killing all the operatives. Overwhelmed by the destruction he caused, he flees. With Superman gone, the remaining heroes assemble to prevent World War III. During the battle, Aquaman gains the upper hand over Cyborg, prepared to kill him. Suddenly, heat vision severs Aquaman's arm as Superman returns and sends him flying. As Cyborg dies before him, Superman watches as the world ends, while Flash resets the timeline again. In a story steeped in tragedy, we find ourselves into the heart of injustice, where a single cataclysmic event changes everything. It begins with hope, as Clark and Lois discover that they're expecting a baby. After Batman figures it out,
Lois is pregnant.
How?
Your hands didn't tremble when you faced Doomsday. They are now.
the Joker and Harley Quinn kidnap her, and Superman loses his mind. When he finally locates them, he's exposed to a kryptonite-laced fear toxin, causing him to hallucinate and see Doomsday. But as Superman hurls him into space, he realizes it's Lois, whose heartbeat flatlines and triggers a nuke in Metropolis. In an instant, he loses his wife, his unborn child, and his city.
Please don't do something you'll regret for the rest of your life.
I already have.
With unstoppable rage, he breaks into Arkham Asylum and kills the Joker. This act of vengeance marks the beginning of his descent. After addressing the United Nations, vowing to enforce peace at any cost,
I am calling an immediate, worldwide ceasefire. All hostilities will stop, or I will stop them.
The Justice League fractures. Later overwhelmed when his father is accidentally killed, losing the last of his humanity, he kills Green Arrow and declares that any hero who doesn't pledge their loyalty is an enemy.
This is your final warning. Stop committing violent acts, or I will stop you.
As Superman's rage only grows, revealing how far he's been driven, he allies with Ra's al Ghul. Though when Ra's android Amazo hurts the innocent, he's forced to team up with Batman's rebellion to stop it. As Superman continues his rampage, he's challenged by Superman from Earth-1.
You're on the wrong side of this. No one is talking me out of this. Not even you.
But when he eventually gets the upper hand, a variant of Lois appears. She reminds him of the values he once held dear, as Superman considered all life sacred.
How many people, husbands, wives, and children will you kill for peace, Clark?
Seeing the error of his ways, he surrenders himself. In this reimagined origin story, Superman's beginnings are dramatically altered. Krypton's destruction still sets the stage, but this time, his father is General Zod instead of Jor-El, and his ship lands in a desert where he's discovered by an immigrant family. Fast forward to the present, he joins forces with variants of Batman and Wonder Woman to form the Justice League. This Superman has a rugged goatee, a black trench coat, and is willing to kill criminals for justice.
The cavalry arrives. Too bad the movie's over.
Nice little bloodbath. Was this really necessary?
When scientists are killed, including one helping Superman piece together his mysterious past, Batman reveals that the League is being framed for their murders.
It's as if someone went through Stone's lab with a pair of blowtorches.
Or heat vision.
As they fail to stop the deaths of more scientists, only Batman's friend Magnus barely survives. The League brings him to their HQ, while Superman seeks out the only person with answers, Lex Luthor.
It's no surprise. You've hated me from day one. I hated what you embody.
However, he learns that Lex stole files from his ship and never revealed that his father was cruel, afraid he would turn out like Zod.
Better you should think he was a hero. But you are no hero. Not really.
Later, when Lex is apparently killed, the army attacks Superman and Wonder Woman. Cornered and out of options, Lex appears and unveils that Magnus is the true mastermind. He plans to use Superman's ship to power a nanite bomb that will link everyone's minds, eliminating freedom to create a unified world. Superman then faces off against the United Metal Men, destroying it in lava, and takes his ship into space before it explodes. Wanting to be nothing like his father going forward, Superman believes the League should follow a new path.
We need to shake things up a bit. Change the way we do things. No more politics. No more killing.
As Lex hands over the original files. Following Superman's climactic battle with Doomsday and his apparent death, we focus on the Eradicator, the final member of the Superman to appear. He's a physical manifestation of a Kryptonian AI embedded in the data matrix of Superman's rocket.
Wait a sec. Is he?
Yes, Miss Lane? You're looking at the last son of Krypton's nanny.
Designed to assist and protect Kryptonians, he ensures Kal-El's survival while replacing him to stop crime by any means necessary, even excessive force. In a suit resembling Superman's, he has shorter hair, red eyes, a yellow visor, red accents, a lot more black added, and a cape attached to his crest. When the rocket detects Superman's demise, it activates a revitalization cycle, automatically transporting Superman's body to the Arctic, where the Eradicator constructs the Fortress of Solitude. As a 3D program that can shoot energy blasts from his hands, he takes a zero-tolerance approach to crime, indifferent to the collateral damage his actions cause.
What happened here?
Superman cleaned us out. The one in the shades.
At a party hosted by Lex, he storms in uninvited, declaring him guilty of countless crimes.
Lex Luthor is a known criminal. Criminals must be eradicated.
Without hesitation, he attacks and battles Superboy, Steel, and Cyborg Superman. After the battle, he retreats to the fortress to revive Superman, using highly advanced technology to transfer ion radiation. When Steel tracks him to the fortress, their battle inadvertently accelerates the revival process, awakening Superman.
Does he have to just stand there like that? It's creeping me out.
He's just trying to protect me.
As the Superman assemble to take down Cyborg Superman, Steel claims that Eradicator's a wildcard. So, while he doesn't join the others in the final battle, he plays a vital role in taking down Cyborg Superman. The Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover stands as the most ambitious live-action DC event, where we're introduced to the iconic Kingdom Come Superman. In the comics, he returns after years in exile to stop a new generation of heroes who've embraced lethal justice. The Crisis event assembles heroes across dimensions to fight the Anti-Monitor, an entity threatening the multiverse. To defeat him, the heroes must recruit 7 Paragons, including the Paragon of Truth, a Kryptonian who suffered a greater loss than most men can endure.
Today he stands as the Paragon of Truth. I'll find him.
I'll go with you.
Their search leads them to Earth 96, where they encounter Clark, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet. Inside his office, a wall of names catches their eye as Clark reveals that because there was no coverage of the Joker, he gassed the building as a prank.
All these people died?
My friends, my wife. I lost everyone in one fell swoop.
After suiting up with the black shield instead of yellow, Lex appears, wielding the Book of Destiny, and pits the Superman against each other. While their battle rages across Metropolis, Lois breaks through to him.
They would want your memories of them to lift you up, not drive you to darkness. Remember who you are.
And they rejoin the others. He helps save as many Earths as possible from the antimatter wave, but is unable to save an Earth from destruction. The loss weighs heavily on him as he shares his promise and reason for his black crest.
Even in the darkest times, hope cuts through, is the light that lifts us out of darkness.
When the Paragons are transported to the void as the wave destroys every reality, Lex replaces Superman as the Paragon of Truth. You may think that's his end, but when the heroes triumph and reset the multiverse, Superman flies once more with the yellow crest of hope instead of black. With the final variant, imagine a Superman raised not in the heartland of Kansas, but under the flag of the Soviet Union. Kal-El's pod crash lands in 1950s Russia, where he grows up immersed in the values of the country. From a young age, his powers set him apart. Recognized as a savior, he works directly under Premier Joseph Stalin, serving as the Soviet Superman.
I am merely a servant of the state who seeks, as you do, to better the lives of our citizens.
His iconic S is replaced with the Soviet Union logo, symbolizing his allegiance to the USSR. After saving Metropolis from a falling meteor, he meets Lois Lane.
There are some massive gaps in your utopian vision.
What is this?
Proof of the repression in the USSR.
And uncovers that Stalin is imprisoning innocent Soviet citizens in a lead-lined gulag. When his childhood friend dies in his arms, fueled with rage, he meets Stalin and kills him to seize control, becoming the new leader of the USSR.
What now? Now I save the world.
Envisioning a peaceful utopia, he ends wars.
The last war went on for 3 years. This one was over in 3 hours.
Forms an alliance with Wonder Woman to establish order, and battles Batman and the United States Green Lantern Corps. Under his leadership, the Soviet Union flourishes.
Summarize today's statistics.
Production is up 8%, life expectancy has increased to 97.
Those who resist his vision are not executed but lobotomized, which he justifies as necessary for the greater good. However, realizing the weight of his actions, he decides to relinquish his utopia.
And they have to be free to make their own mistakes.
And your perfect world?
It's in their hands.
His plans are interrupted by Brainiac, whom he had once defeated and reprogrammed to serve the Soviet Union, revealing his true colors. So, Superman and Lex team up to stop him, where he sacrifices himself to save humanity.
What's he doing? Saving the world.
Yet, Superman survives, choosing to live among the people as their equal, not their leader. And that concludes their evolution, so which variant was your favorite? Grab your cape, sort of the comments, and let me know. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on my latest content. Thanks again to my patrons for keeping this channel going, and I'll catch you all in the next video.